Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Marauders podcast, sponsored, as always, by our good friends at D1 Media Pro, the number one live stream in the state of New Jersey for high school sports. We continue our winter previews this week as we preview the ice hockey season as head coach Brendan Roche and Captain Ryan Byington of the class of 2023 will join us this week on the State of the Marauders hotline as they give us their thoughts and expectations for the upcoming year. And since we're continuing our previews, the winter season is literally just right around the corner. We have the regular season action starting next week, alongside with some scrimmages this week as well. So stay tuned to hear what the athletic schedule will look like this week. We can always be found on any listening devices, on Apple, on Spotify, on Anchor, you name it, we are there. So be sure to search State of the Marauders or follow us on our social media profile at SOTM Marauders to see all of our exclusive Marauder content. Also, we have a new YouTube channel, again, State of the Marauders Network, in which you could watch the podcast and any highlights and other interviews and other content that we provide as well. As always, I am your host, Renato Rodriguez of the class of 2010, alongside, once again, the club president of the State of the Marauders Sports Supporters Club, Ben Novosyolok of the class of 2024. Ben, welcome back on the podcast. How you feeling this week, man?
I'm pretty good. Thank you for having me on, Renato, as always. We have quite a bit to cover today, and I'm really excited. It's my favorite sport to cover, and I'm really happy we're going to be previewing it.
I mean, Ben, this is your territory, man. This
is my territory. This is my territory. Hockey. You see the jerseys up. Sorry, other finger. The jerseys up. All hockey jerseys. I'm playing hockey. I stopped my freshman year, but I played hockey for 10 years, so I know quite a bit, and I'm really excited to be sharing it.
And you have your own podcast too about.
Yeah, I have my own YouTube channel, not necessarily podcast, but I interview a lot of junior and professional hockey players, and I believe 4 of the guys that I've interviewed are in the NHL right now.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
What is that YouTube channel so people can listen?
Max and Ben Talk Hockey. It's with my good friend Max. He's also a junior at Weehawken High, and he also plays hockey. So yeah.
Yeah, so make sure to tune in, everybody. That's a great listen. So tune in, watch the videos, get to hear all about the upcoming NHL prospects.
Yep.
So now, before we preview the hockey team, let's talk about the news of the week. And of course, make sure you download the app today with the link on the State of the Marauders social media page. Especially, the winter season is just right around the corner, as I talked about. So you're going to need your live stream links. You're going to need schedule updates. If you want texting service information from the games that we're going to be at. The play of the week voting, which, Ben, that's going to be coming back soon with the season starting.
That's making a return. It's making a return.
Making returns, coming back. I'm excited for the play of the week voting. And, of course, much, much more. So make sure you download the app today. As we revealed last week on the podcast and on social media profiles, we talked about the basketball schedule. I know the SPP Marauder Hockey account also has their own schedule. We'll show you guys the schedule of that in a little bit. But what's important about that is we have our own YouTube channel, right? We have a lot more content coming up, all right? A lot more content, as we talked about. So make sure you're liking and subscribing to all of our videos on YouTube today, including this video, Ben. You can watch this video.
Yep.
So make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube today. Okay, so now we got that nitty-gritty news out of the way. I want to talk about the soccer team nominations, Ben, because the soccer team got nominated for a couple of All-Star nominations at HCIAL, NJ.com. Soccer team, they did really well this year, so I think they deserve to be recognized for their accomplishments.
Yeah, of course.
The Hudson County League, American Division All-Stars, couple great guys on this list, including forward Andy Mayorga, midfield Matt Sobrero, and defender Luke Gilhawley. So congratulations to those guys. Also congratulations to the honorable mention guys, including the captain midfielder John Dereka and the defender John Carey. And Ben, the thing that's crazy about that is that most of those guys are coming back next year too.
Yeah, I mean, the only ones who are not are Gilhawley and Dereka, because Dereka has committed to Clarkson to play Division I soccer. Everyone else, Andy Mayorga and John Carey, they're back for another year. They're juniors. And Matt Sobrero, he's only a sophomore, so he's got 2 years left.
I know he's good, man.
To make a good impact on the team.
He's good, man. You know how good he is?
How good?
He's so good that he got the second team all non-public from NJ.com.
Wow, that's great. It's great for him.
There's a lot of CBA guys on that list, a lot of BC guys, Seton Hall guys on that list, but the one prep guy, Matt Sobrero. So only a sophomore. It's gonna make a big name for himself these next couple of years.
Yeah, it's great.
So congratulations again to all those guys. And again, final reminder, basketball updates exclusively on Game Changer this year. That'll be starting up, Ben, on the scrimmage against Roselle Catholic on Saturday afternoon. So get some nice rosters in there. You guys can follow in and then see the live stats. And Ben, last year when we did the stats, it was only just points, right?
Yeah.
We get down steals. But guess what? With the Game Changer app, we get points, rebounds, steals. I get everything. Get everything one category.
Great. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, stats are great, and especially for basketball, there's so many. All the steals, the blocks, the rebounds, all that. All that's very important for basketball, and seeing how a player has been doing in a certain game or season, or if you want to do some fancy statistics like average points per quarter, something like that, or like I don't know, something like that. Like this player averages X many points in a quarter.
Analytics.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely you download the Game Changer app. I already have that, so I can keep up to date with prep basketball stats.
And again, Pete Spirac, Game Changer Prep Grad, does a great job in doing everything with the app. So again, make sure you download that today. So Ben, there's one more piece of news we got to talk about. Mark Armstrong.
Oh,
Mark Armstrong started his first career start for Villanova. He's been playing off the bench, but his first career start against Oklahoma, 10 points.
Not bad. Not bad.
10 points.
Not at all.
10 points in 15 minutes of action. 1 assist. He was 100% from three-point land.
Oh, that's nothing new. Nothing new.
I don't know. Nothing new. 75% from the field. So, again, Mark Armstrong so far making the case. Villanova struggling a little bit, but he's doing his thing up at Nova. He's doing his thing.
Yeah, I mean the team struggled a little bit. They're not the Villanova that won March Madness a couple years back, but they still got some great talent. And Mark Armstrong I think, is going to add a lot to that team. And I think he's only a freshman, so he has a lot of time. But I think this year he could also make a great impact.
Right, and he was 3 of 4 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3, and then 3 from the line. So again, Mark Armstrong just doing his thing, So good job for that.
Yeah, great job.
Also, I want to give a quick shout out to the Holy Cross guys from the football team. They're still undefeated.
Oh, they're still undefeated. Awesome.
Yeah, they're in the playoffs right now. They're in the quarterfinals, making their thing, but they're doing a good job too. Holy Cross. So
who are those Holy Cross guys?
So shout out Ayir Asante, Pat Hartney, Grady Smith, a lot of those guys. Byron Shipman,
Sammy
Sammy Slade, yes. I can't forget about Sam Slade.
Yeah, he's on the team.
Sam
I
Slade's on
remember
the
him
team.
from last year.
Yeah, so a lot of great guys at Holy Cross. A lot of great guys. So
Yeah.
good job to those guys. So now, Ben, this is the time you're waiting for.
Oh yeah.
This is the time you're waiting for. The Heist hockey team, they exceeded expectations last year. They start their campaign in a few weeks, including, next Sunday, playing against arguably one of the top teams in the world, maybe even the top team this year. I don't know. Ben's rankings are.
I mean, I think they're going to be number one. I think they have such a complete squad. That Don Bosco squad that's who's playing in the opener, or that, and I think they have a really good squad. The class of 2024 at Don Bosco is probably the best class of players in New Jersey.
In New Jersey,
they have around 5 players from the class of 2024 on their varsity roster, and I think all 5 of those players can play Division I NCAA hockey.
Wow.
Yeah, they have an extremely complete squad. Most of those guys play on a club team, the North Jersey Avalanche, that is ranked 3rd in the country. So, and
that's a good team.
Yeah, that's a very good team. So,
go ahead. What are you going to say, Ben?
No, I'm just going to say it's going to be a really, really tough test for this Marauders team.
And they also have lost a lot of senior leadership. The Bankovich twins. A lot of talent. You got Jack Fisher not coming back. All those senior leaders that they've lost. But they still have a lot of talent coming back on both sides of the ice. So this week we sat down with head coach Brendan Roche and senior captain Ryan Byington on the State of the Marauders hotline to get their thoughts and expectations for the 2022-2023 season. So let's hear what they have to say. Welcome to the State of the Marauders hotline, sponsored by the Torna Bennett Group. They provide leadership solutions for nonprofit organizations, professional fundraising, interim executives, and strategic marketing. They also provide sales, fundraising, and executive solutions for New Jersey businesses. For more information, call 201-932-0100 today. That's 201-932-0100. The Marauders hotline, and I'm here today with ice hockey head coach Brendan Roche, who is entering his 2nd season at the helm. So, Brendan, welcome back on the podcast. How are you feeling today as you prepare to start your 2nd year?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I think, we had a tremendous amount of growth last year as a program. The most wins that we've had in a few years now. The place in the standings didn't necessarily reflect the amount of growth that we had, but we're excited. We get started on Monday with the scrimmage against Xavier, and we open the season next week against Bosco. So excited, but also terrified because it's coming up quick. Obviously we're the sport that's, I think, been most affected by the state's new scheduling. So we're trying to figure out the pacing of this new world in terms of the schedule of starting after Thanksgiving break, and yet games kind of starting right in December like they used to. So, I definitely have some anxiety thinking about how many practices we have left until our first real game, but we're excited to get going.
And as you mentioned, Brendan, last year you guys had a pretty successful year. I mean, you mentioned you had as many wins as the 2 previous seasons combined, 7 wins total. You guys even won a playing game in the state tournament. So tell me, overall, how would you define the team last year?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us was we just needed to focus on that belief. I think because of the past couple of seasons, I think we were kind of walking into a lot of games thinking they were lost before the puck was ever dropped. And so that was a big focus for us as we kind of tried to turn around the team culture. And we really kind of instituted that there's three things that we're looking for from the players: that they work hard, that they support each other, and that they have fun. And I think all three of those things were missing at various times in some of the past seasons. And I those guys embraced it, and our seniors leadership, the graduating class, I think, really embraced that message, and kind of pushed everybody with them. And so everything was a battle. That we were very happy with guys on most nights, kind of regardless of what the result was. We went into games, and the greatest compliment we got was after a lot of games, coaches said, this is the hardest working St. Peter's prep team that we've seen in a long time. And that's what we need to continue. We need to just be a hardworking. I mean, I hate to go into the cliches, but we need to be a lunch pail team. We need to be
right.
We need to be that blue collar, hardworking team. And so hopefully that identity continues this year.
And you talked about some of the seniors who did such a great job on the team last year, particularly, the Bankovitz twins, 61 points combined. You have Brian Arredondo, guys like Jack Fisher, Ryan Lauer, who are the leaders of the team as well. So talk to us about how the transition has been between having those guys last year and not having the new senior leaders for this year.
Yeah, I think obviously we have some seniors this year who have been around in the program for a while and have been in varsity for a while. I mean, you have Maddie January, who's a 4-year varsity player at this point. Ryan Byington, who's a 3-year varsity player. Enzo Capano is a 3-year varsity player. Oliver, who had some time as a freshman, so he's essentially been a 4-year varsity player. And then Mikey and Santo, who were both the varsity goaltenders last year. So it's definitely a very experienced group coming back. It's a smaller senior group, but one that's played a lot of varsity hockey. And, we'll see how things go. I think obviously looking on paper, you might get a little bit nervous looking at the number of points that departed last year from the senior class.
Right.
Especially the Bankovitz has put up, I think, 70 combined points.
Mm-hmm.
But their junior season, they had, I think, a combined total of like 13 points. So we're just looking for guys to make that same leap. And I know our guys have really been pushing hard, guys who have stepped up into playing junior hockey, because it's a higher level of competition. Guys who have gone from AA teams into AAA hockey for their club, in order to push themselves and be ready this year. So, these guys have done the work in the fall and in the summer to be as prepared and ready to go as possible. And we're just hoping that they make that leap and fill in some of those points that we lost. I think, obviously, I'm not expecting one individual person to get that many points, but I think we're a team that can score by committee this year.
So you talk about, Ryan, Matt, Santo, and Mikey as those senior guys. But besides the senior guys on the team, who are some other key guys that could be some of that catalyst that you're looking for this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got a lot of talent all around the board. Obviously, we have a lot of juniors coming back who are, who have been on the varsity team since their freshman year. So guys like Tommy Appelazin and Joey, as well as Timmy Appelazin, who was on the varsity team for the first time last year, who's coming back. Will Arnone, who I forgot to mention among the seniors, who's unfortunately going to be out for a little bit of time, but I think will be a kind of key catalyst for us as well when he gets back. Some of the sophomores. I mean, I think Neil Ward is going to push to be one of the top defensemen in the state this year. He played every game last year as a freshman defenseman, and he's just gotten bigger, stronger, faster. He looks great out there. We have 3 other sophomore defensemen who got time last year on the back end, so we're going to have a very experienced back line. Guys like Henry Walker, who missed last year because of an injury suffered during tryouts, who's was probably going to be a varsity player last year, and now we have him in the fold. I think he's a key addition for us. And we're excited about the freshmen. We have Hayden Grenier, who's going to be playing on the back line for us, and maybe some center as well. We have Grant Fisher, the younger brother of the recently graduated Fish. So we have that kind of continuity. We're really excited about how he's looked so far in tryouts. And we have some guys up from the JV team that we think can add a spark too. They did really good things down there last year, and so we're excited by them.
So let's take a look now at your schedule. I know, again, you're still in the Gordon Conference, still got a lot of those tough Gordon teams.
Yep.
But which matchups are you particularly looking forward to, either, at home at Barnabas or on the road? Who are you looking forward to seeing the most this year?
Yeah, I think, it's exciting because every game is a measuring stick for us. We start off with Bosco, and obviously that's a rivalry game. It's a very tough game. It's out at the Ice Vault, where we necessarily haven't had a ton of success in recent years. So I think we're excited to open up our season with them. Last year we led 1-0 going into the third period, and they had a couple of quick minutes to put 3 past us and win the game 3-1. But it was a battle, and even though we lost, that was one of those games where guys kind of opened their eyes and said, "Hey, we can do this. Like, we can compete with anybody in this league." And so I think it's great to start off with them and hopefully have kind of a similar result. Obviously, I think any of the divisional games are probably the key. Us and St. Joe's Regional have developed a little bit of a rivalry the last couple of years. Those games have had a bit of snarl in them. So I think those are going to be fun ones. St. Augustine's Prep, new coach. We want to see what they look like in that circumstance. So that'll be a good one. Pope John, I think has a chance of being the top team in our division this year. They really didn't graduate anyone last year. A lot of their top scorers were sophomores and juniors, so we're expecting them to be a really tough out. We had some good battles with them last year. Obviously, the senior night tie at American Dream, and then splitting the season otherwise. And then, of course, we're excited. We're hoping to have on. It should get confirmed sometime in the next couple of days. January 2nd at the Prudential Center. We're going to have a homecoming game. So we're inviting all of our alumni back January 2nd. So if you're listening, save the date. January 2nd, Prudential Center. We're taking on Paramus Catholic. And we're getting ready as a program to celebrate 50 years as a varsity team. That's February 2024. So this is that kind of kickoff to 50 years, a year ahead of time. But we invite all the alumni back. And we hope we have a raucous pro prep crowd at the Rock. I think it'll be a good game.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. January 2nd, Prudential Center. Stay tuned. Circle down your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. So, with everything that happened last year and with the expectations that you have right now, what are you feeling about this overall season, Brendan?
We're going to be in a battle every night, and I think we saw that last year. We would have a really good game against some of those upper division teams, with very close battles against CEA, against Bosco, against Gloucester Catholic, and then turn around a couple days later and get our doors blown off by Pope John or St. Augustine's in our division. So, we got to make sure we're there competing every single night, and that we bring that same attitude. Just because we're playing a team in our division or we're playing a non-conference game, we have a target on our back because we're a Gordon Conference team, and we need to show up and not take anybody lightly. And it's going to be a battle, and hopefully, regardless of the record, we take another step forward as a program.
So, Brendan, again, thank you so much for coming on this week's episode of the podcast. We really appreciate it, and good luck to you and the rest of the team this season.
Thank you so much, and let's go Prep.
Hello, everyone. I'm Connor Cagle, class of 2023.
I'm Ignacio Amaro, class of 2025.
And here we are with Ryan Byington, captain of Prep Hockey.
So, Ryan, what has been the message that head coach Brendan Roche has preached to you this season so far?
So Coach Roche this season has been all about the brotherhood and just working hard and always trying our best.
Ryan, what did you take away from last season? Your truly first time playing varsity.
Well, I got a few minutes sophomore year. Last year, I had stepped up into a bigger role. So taking away from last year is just always making sure you're on top of your game, working hard and getting pucks deep.
So after going 7, 12, and 5 last season, what are the new expectations for your squad this year?
So we want to be a fast, physical team that just kind of smothers all the other teams. They're big and fast too, but we just want to be that faster, stronger team.
All right, Ryan, having 8 points, 4 goals, 4 assists, 1 power play goal. What are your individual goals this season?
So I definitely want to be one of our top scorers, just kind of helping out offense and then definitely playing a smart defensive game, chipping pucks out and blocking shots.
Who's going to make the biggest impact on your team this season?
I think Matthew January, the other co-captain, he's a very physical player, smart, defensive, also offensive. I think he's going to be one of our strongest players.
All right. So which team are you most excited to play?
Definitely most excited to play Bosco. They're always a very good team, definitely beatable for on our A game. So first game of the season away on the road. So hopefully we come out with a win.
Which team are you least excited to play?
Probably also Bosco. They're the biggest, fastest, strongest team out there that we're going to play this season. And we just gotta play our game.
So considering that you are a senior, what colleges/offers are you looking at, and what does life after prep look like for you?
So I might go play another year of juniors, maybe not, just club hockey somewhere, Villanova, Fordham, somewhere like that.
Okay. All right. This is a question for Marauder Nation. Is there any message you would like to get out to the folks of Marauder Nation listening out there?
I definitely think that we need a lot of people out to our games. Loud crowd definitely makes for better atmosphere, and just all around we'll play better, be more hyped up. I think that's the key.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, and good luck with the season.
Thank you.
Thank you to head coach Brendan Roche and Ryan Byington for coming on again. Ben, I know you're the hockey expert on the podcast, Hockey Analysis. What are your initial thoughts on how you think the team is going to do this season?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a decently successful season. I think either around the same same number of wins as last year, or maybe even more. Although they did lose all of their top 4 scorers because they were seniors last year, they retained a lot of guys on the defensive end as well as their both goalies. Offensive production may be a little bit tough to come by, but I think some sophomores and juniors might grow into a bigger role and take a bigger step in their development. And especially with the addition of some freshmen, I think this team can be surprisingly deadly in putting the puck in the back of the net. I think they're going to be extremely reliable on the defensive end. They only lost 2 guys, and they replaced those 2 guys with either call-ups from JV. I remember right now Junior Henry Walker is coming back from injury that he had last year, and there are some freshmen who are probably going to start right out of the gate on varsity on the defensive end. On top of that, they retained both varsity goalies, Santo Petrucelli and Mikey Lemanowitz. Those guys are both seniors, and they did a pretty good job of keeping the puck out of their own net last year. And I think they only got better. They found better teams to play on, and they've been preparing all year for the season. On top of that, the schedule looks very different from years prior. Usually, Prep would play each team in the American division of the Gordon Conference once, and then the National Division twice. So teams in the American Division are the guys who are the teams who are going to be top 5 in the state. So teams like your Bergen Catholics, your CBAs, your Boscos, your Delbys, all those teams. While teams in the National Division are teams who you would predict to finish between 10 and 20 in the state rankings. So teams like Pope John, St. Augustine, Seton Hall Prep, Princeton Day just moved from the National Division to the American Division.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I know. They just entered the Gordon Conference last year after being an independent. Right. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to be looking. And of course, we play them once this year. So this year, Prep is only playing 3 teams from the American Division instead of the usual 6 or 7. So those teams are Don Bosco, Gloucester Catholic, and Princeton Day. This means that there's a lot of room for out-of-conference play, which Coach Brendan Roche has filled up with matchups like Northern Highlands, St. Rose, St. John Vianney, the Hun School, Paramus Catholic, and so on.
Yeah, so, this team is going to be very sound defensive. I don't think there's no question about that. With both goalies coming back, with the defense pretty much staying intact. I think the defensive side is going to be fine. But the question is going to be who's going to be able to, I don't want to say duplicate because, the Bankovich twins had a lot of points last year. But which guys are going to step up in the offensive end to get those points that the Marauders need in order to win, the 2-1, the 3-2 type games that they're going to be playing against most of these teams this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and this is kind of a coincidence. I mean, you lose a pair of twins, and now I think the team's best two scorers are going to be another pair of twins, the Appelazans, Tim and Tom.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think they play together on the same club team, New Jersey Rockets 16U AAA, and I think they're going to be pretty dynamic. They can play the full 200-foot game, and they can put the puck in the back of the net, and they can pretty much fill in any system. Ryan Byington, who plays currently for the juniors, for Union Thunder Junior League in the EHL Premier, along with Matt January, I think he can be a really good producer. Enzo Capano is also someone who I think is pretty dynamic, and I'm looking to see a lot out of Olar Known. He was really good last year in his second line role. I'd like to see what he can do with more minutes. On top of that, I think some defensive players can contribute offensively. Like a Neil Ward. I mean, when I played hockey, I played with the Neil Ward for 10 years of my life, and he always played defense, and he almost always led our teams in scoring. And he is going to make a case for first All-State team or whatever it's called.
First team All-State.
He can make a case for first team All-State or second team All-State. Especially for the Gordon Conference, he can pretty much do anything you ask of him, and they're going to be a lot, and there's going to be a lot more. I mean, you get rid of Jack Fisher from graduation, and his younger brother comes in, who I think is just as good right now, and I think he can be really dynamic. So yeah, I think that's what I'm looking forward to put the puck in the back of the net.
So, Ben, let's take a look at the schedule. I know we talked about it briefly, but I think that the viewers who are watching this on YouTube at least, and also follow on the social media platforms of the Marauder Hockey page, take a look at the schedule right now. And Ben, what do you notice about these games on the schedule that are interesting to you?
So what I notice is that we play a lot of teams twice. And I think we're going to be splitting a lot of those games. And I also think that I think that there's a lot of room to get in a lot of wins. Like there are teams that I think that we can beat pretty easily, such as PCTI, St. Rose, Northern Highlands. I think could be a tie. Hunterdon Central can go either way, but I think they might lose that one. I think Pope John is definitely beatable. We showed last year that we could definitely beat them. And if last year's team can beat them, I'm pretty sure this year's team can beat them. Seton Hall Prep is going to be really tough. It's always a huge rivalry match. I think we're going to beat both St. Joe's regional games. I think we can definitely beat them. And as well as St. Joe's Metuchen, that team they're kind of overshadowed by CBA and St. John Vianney, who we play St. John Vianney, and I think that's going to be a really, really tough game. I don't think Prep could win that one, but I think it's going to be a really tough game. Don Bosco Prep, we already talked about. They're probably going to finish first in the state. They have tons of guys who could go D1. Gloucester Catholic, they have a Sacred Heart commit, Billy Sheridan. He's been amazing this season for club, playing for the Rockets 18U. And St. Augustine Prep, again, new coach, but I think we can. I think there's a opportunity to split the game, so I think Augies might win their game at home, and we might win our game at home. On top of that, Hunterdon Central, they have a really good defensive end, and Northern Highlands, they have a top. I'm gonna go top 5 goalie in the state. He's only a junior, but I think he can. I think he's a top 5 goalie in the state. And I think he can potentially play juniors or possibly D1 or D3 in the future. Paramus Catholic at Prudential. I'm marking my calendar. I'm saving that.
Mark the calendar. Got mark it.
A free game at Prudential Center. Are you kidding me? Like who am I to pass that up? Yeah. Pope John. That can go either way. We already talked about that. And the Hun School, I don't really know much about them.
And
I do know that they're pretty competitive. And Princeton Day, they have an extremely good defender. He almost won national championship last year. And I think they have a lot of really, really sound players who can make a pretty good team.
If you notice, Ben, that's a Jersey City game, so that's going to be Pershing Field.
That's at Pershing Field. Wow.
Pershing
Yeah,
Field.
that should be pretty fun.
That should be pretty exciting. But most of the games this year are at Barnabas, so it's gonna be very good.
That's great. It's not everyone freezing in the caucus. We freeze once at Pershing. That's it. That's it.
That's the only.
We only have to freeze once. Everything else is probably the warmest rink in New Jersey at Barnabas. So that should be pretty fun.
So Ben, now that we know the schedule, I need to see what your expectations are for this team in terms of the record. What do you think this team's going to be record-wise this year?
I think they're going to be 8-10-1.
8-10, really?
Yeah, I think they're going to be 8-10-1, and here's why. Like Don Bosco, Coach Roche talked about being a blue-collar team, and I think they're gonna give Bosco a run for their money. But I think Bosco just has so much high-end talent that it's kind of impossible to beat them. I believe they also retained Vermont commit Chris Crummins, who is really good. Vermont's a really good team. I know a guy who plays there, and he loves it. And they're building a really sound program up there, the Catamounts. And this guy is a foreign guy. He's from Latvia. From Latvia. He came over to play club, and he's playing at Bosco. And he committed to Vermont. And yeah, I think Bosco's a bit too top heavy. Same with Gloucester Catholic. Sacred Heart not at the level of Vermont, but they're still a really good team. And a couple Sacred Heart players have made their way out to play either in the AHL, which is the minors of the NHL, or they even made it to the NHL. So Sacred Heart is also a really good program, and for a couple players on Gloucester Catholic to commit there is a really big deal. Additionally, St. John Vianney, I think that game's either going to be it's going to be a 1-goal game. It's going to be extremely close. They have a lot of really top players from the AAA teams down there. They have the Jersey Whalers, who are a startup team. There's the New Jersey Titans, who have always been an extremely good team. And yeah, I think it's going to be really close. Hunterdon Central, I think, is going to be a loss. I don't really know much about their team, but from prior experiences, I'm sorry. That's like a random area of New Jersey. But I think from prior experience, from prior, like I've looked at their team the past year, and they finished really, really well in their conference against some top teams like Bridgewater, Raritan. So yeah, I think that might be a loss. They're going to split with Pope John. They're going to split with Augies, because those teams, you can either go either way. They're going to lose to Seton Hall Prep twice, only because
come on, no.
I know. I hate to be the one saying this. They have, again, Seton Hall Prep, not at the level of a Bosco or a Bergen, but they're at a pretty high level, and I think it's gonna be a battle. We're gonna play them extremely hard, but I think they have a lot of really top players and an extremely good goaltender, who is also in my class. On top of that, they're gonna lose to Hun. I know a couple players at Hun, and they play at a really, really high club level. And I think that's just going to be too hard for us to handle. But again, I'm not saying that it's going to be 8-10-1 is set in stone.
It's not set in stone.
No, it is not set in stone, because these games I all think are going to be within like 3 scores, like three goals, and in hockey, 3 goals are come.
Yeah, it's hard to get blowouts in hockey.
Yeah, it's pretty rare to see a blowout in hockey, and I think that each game can go either way. Either the ones that we win or the ones that we lose. And lastly, Princeton Day, they have a couple of really, really talented players. And one year after entering the Gordon Conference, they're now playing in the American Division against the top teams in New Jersey. I think the one tie is going to be against Northern Highlands.
All right, so now you predict tie. So now you know which one's going to be a tie.
Yeah. So Northern Highlands, I think, is going to be the tie. I don't think they're that complete offensively. They lost a lot of their guys to last year because they were seniors. But I think their goalie is just going to keep them in the game. Like I've seen what he can do, and I think he's just going to keep them in the game. So yeah.
So I'm gonna go 9-9-1. I'm gonna go a little bit higher than you.
A
little bit higher than you. But again, I'm not gonna break this down by game. But they were 6-1 last year, and I felt like first year head coach, takes a little bit to get used to the systems put in place, compared to the old coaches, right? So I think now with a full year, with the new regime, I think they'll steal a couple more wins. I really do. I really like Sandro Petrocelli.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's tremendous. I think it's gonna be a lot more closer games than you're thinking. I think I think it's gonna be a lot of goals less than some 3. I think they're gonna have a lot of games that are 1-goal games, 2-goal.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I'm going a little high. I'm going 9-9-1. Let's see who wins.
Yeah.
Again, they were 6-1 in the regular season last year before the playoffs. So we'll see what happens.
And again, there's also the Gordon Conference playoffs, and also there is non-public A playoffs, which is always fun because the non-public A is huge. There are so many teams. I don't even think there's a B. That's why. I think it's just non-public. I remember last year was just non-public. So there were like 30 teams. Just like a bunch of schools you didn't even know had hockey teams are all playing in, and it's going to be really fun. I think there are a lot. I think it's an opportunity for Prep to potentially go the distance in some tournament play.
I agree 100%. So now, Ben, let's take a look at the upcoming schedule of the week. Okay, of the week. Let's take a look.
Oh,
and we got a lot of opener scrimmages to talk about. Again, ice hockey, they have 2 scrimmages on Monday and Tuesday against Xavier and Glen Rock to get their season rolling. You got basketball taking on Teaneck. I'm looking forward to the bowling matchups this week, Ben. You got Bayonne and Schneider to start off the season. So that's a great way to start out the regular season for Prep Athletics. And then you got the big scrimmage against Roselle for basketball.
Oh, yeah. Number 1 team in the country.
Number 1 team in the country. Not just in the state, ladies and gentlemen, in the country. And then you also got the ice hockey opener against one of the top teams in the state. Again, the rankings have not come out yet for ice hockey, but we're going to assume Bosco's going to be up there. So that's going to be a pretty good week, Ben, overall for the program.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really well. I think it's going to be really good. Basketball, they have a couple scrimmages in there. I know I'm definitely going to the one against Patterson Eastside. Are they playing?
On Friday, yes.
Yeah. I kind of want to go see how the scrimmages are. I don't really have anything to do on a Friday evening, so yeah.
So a lot of those games are at home. So if you're interested, make sure you come tune in, join us. We'll be watching those games just to see how the teams are. And good luck to all the athletes competing.
Of course, good luck.
So now I think, Ben, you have something to do, don't you? You got something to do right now?
Oh yeah. I got something to do.
You got something to do. So let's take a listen at State of the Marauders Club President Ben Novosyolok of the class of 2024 has an announcement to the current St. Peter's Prep student body. So, Ben, you got to take it away, man.
Our Sports Reporters Club. If you're a student at St. Peter's Prep and you want to get involved with sports media or broadcasting, come to one of our club meetings. Dates and times of the meetings will be published on the daily announcements. But if you want more information, you can just email me at novosyolok.b24@students.spprep.org. We look forward to seeing you guys.
Hey, good job, Ben.
Thank you.
Great job with the announcement. Again, join us, right? If you're interested, in joining State of the Marauders Sports Reporters Club, we'll be meeting A-Day. So, Ben, when is A-Day this week? I believe that's on Thursday or Friday.
I think maybe.
It'll be on the announcement, so make sure to check the announcements. We'll be meeting. We talk about everything Prep Athletics going on for the start of the winter season.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot more developments, like day in the lives, and a lot more opportunities. Maybe a lot more opportunities for interviews
And where would that be found, Ben? Where?
I'll be found on the app.
Not just the app, though. What else? YouTube.
Oh,
State of Mars
YouTube.
Network.
Yeah, sure.
State of Mars Network. So make sure, again, like and subscribe. So that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for another edition of the State of Mars podcast. Ben, thank you again for joining us this week.
Of course. Thank you. I'm back next week, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I'll hopefully be back next week. I want to thank you all for listening to this week's episode and continue to spread the word of the State of Mars podcast to everyone you know, and continue to check them out for all of the latest updates. We hope to see you all next week as we recap what occurred for the start of the winter season. And as always, let's go prep.